We were already starting to disappear before AI ever came along. Half listening in conversations, scrolling instead of actually reading, nodding along while our minds are somewhere else completely. We were really good at outsourcing our presence, and now we have a tool that will let us outsource our thinking. And I was using AI the other day. I was working, I was moving fast, I was producing. But I caught myself because I wasn't actually thinking at all. And when I realized that, it was a pretty scary moment. Working with this tool felt like a partner. It felt like it was thinking with me, but it wasn't. It was thinking for me. And what surprised me the most about that was how quickly I got used to the idea that I shouldn't have to struggle with my thinking at all. Just ask a question, get an insight. And it made me think about struggle, and it made me think about the role that struggle has played in my life. As a young father, I struggled. My second child was born with a very rare birth condition, and we were told our baby wouldn't live past 2 years old. That didn't happen, but we did have dozens of surgeries, including a blood transfusion at about 5 months old. And that struggle taught me a lot about empathy for my child, for my wife, for the other families I would see as we were in the hospital in their situations. And to this day, I can't hear about a child being born with some kind of rare condition. And my mind goes right back to the NICU, standing there looking at my baby under the heat lamp and not being allowed to pick them up. I struggled as well as I was a young manager. I worked for a company that did annual layoffs. And about 3 years in, I caught on to how this worked. The call for cuts came around. I just put my own name in. So just take me if you're going to do this. I'm done. I'd had enough. That struggle helped me find my moral compass. What was I going to tolerate? How was I going to show up as a leader? And so these weren't just things that happened to me, they were things that made me who I am. And today we're being presented with this alternative where struggle is becoming optional. Struggle is seen as inefficient, maybe even undesirable. Struggle has benefited us a lot in history. So let's take one example. Louis Pasteur. He was a chemist by trade. So he had no business telling physicians anything, let alone that their dirty hands and dirty tools might be killing their patients. And so he struggled. He struggled to get anyone to listen to him. He struggled as he watched 3 of his own 5 children die from typhoid fever, knowing that better sanitation practices probably could have saved their lives. But he kept struggling, and he kept working, and his work led to the discovery of germ theory. Germ theory led to treatments for hundreds of previously incurable infectious diseases, have saved hundreds of millions of lives. Now, even if he had AI back then, it would not have helped him because he was trying to do something completely new. He wasn't just trying to rearrange or optimize existing knowledge. So when I hear people talk today and I see comparisons and I see people concerned and putting themselves on the same level as a prediction engine, it actually bothers me because that line of thinking can lead to people not wanting to struggle. Well, let's just ask the tool what to do. But the research is clear. Anytime we outsource our thinking to some sort of assistive technology, our own ability to solve problems and think clearly diminishes. Researchers, they studied doctors who were using AI in screenings for cancer. With the AI turned on, they all did better. When they later turned the AI off, the doctors scored worse than before they started using the AI. And the scary part is, they didn't even realize this was happening. So let's do a quick test right now in this room. Think of 2 places that you go fairly often, maybe home and work. Now, in your mind, describe the route between those 2 places using only compass directions and street names. Most of you can't do it. I have a hard time getting out of my driveway because we've outsourced our spatial thinking for years. So what is this tool that we're being asked to hand over our thinking to? Generative AI, as we have it today, it's like a kaleidoscope. You know the toys, you look through the tube and you see infinite patterns as you twist it. You twist it again, it feels magical. But eventually, as you do this, you realize, it's all the same beads, they're just being rearranged. And that's what generative AI does. It takes our existing knowledge and it rearranges it in very fascinating and useful ways. But it's bounded. So compare that to your brain. The human brain runs all day on about as much power as it takes to run the light bulb in your refrigerator And it can do things that those trillion-dollar AI systems cannot do. It can wonder about what's not in the data set. It can get excited and curious to try something that's never been done before. And it can lean into a problem and chip away at it over and over and over, trying and trying things that don't work. And it can be shaped and changed by that process, not because it ever got to an outcome, but by the struggle to just try to get there. But only if we let it. So my wife and I own an escape room, and what most people don't know is that we can actually unlock all of the locks and puzzles and secret compartments and doors from our desk. Now you know. But we don't. We let people struggle. We let them get angry, frustrated. We let them try things that literally do not work. But eventually, they figure it out, something clicks, and they get that solved, and the room just erupts. And that is not something you can get by pushing a button, right? But we've also noticed something. Before COVID, when people came in, we talked to them, and they were excited about the struggle. Give me your hardest room. Let me see if I can get it out. And if they didn't get out, that's okay. I'll come back. I'll try another one. Now, when people come in, a lot of times what they really want, when you talk to them, they want to win. And so when these groups play, they may not always make the progress they need to make for that win. And so we might reach over now sometimes. We might push a button. We might open a door for them. And they'll walk through. They'll finish the game. They'll get the win. They'll celebrate. But it feels different, right? The high fives are still there, but it's different underneath. You can feel it. Because a win without the work, it's just an outcome. It's just a result. It's not an experience. It doesn't belong to you. But that's what generative AI is offering us. It's offering to just force open all the doors. And when we walk through, we wonder why it doesn't feel like we really accomplished anything. So that's the cognitive piece. But there's another side to this that I also want to talk about that goes a little deeper. A couple weeks ago, I was at church. I walked up to say hi to a friend. He stood up right there in the middle of the chapel area, and he just reached out and hugged me. I was going for the handshake, but he hugged me. And what people don't know is he's getting divorced. He's having a really hard time. And there are no words for that. Right? There's nothing to say. There's nothing I can say. And so I just stood there, and I just hugged him back. I think after a few seconds, I think I gave him a little man pat to let him know I kind of hit my limit, but that's what you do as a human. That's what being human is, right? It's not knowing what to say and being present anyway, right? That weird, wordless, awkward moment, that's connection. That's two people who are choosing to stay present with each other when honestly, it would be easier to not do that for me, but it's not what needs to happen. AI can summarize every article ever written about grief, but it can't choose to stay when staying is hard and you actually don't know what to say. But we're being offered exits from that too, right? AI girlfriends, AI companions, AI best friends. And I feel like the stakes are really high here, so I'm going to try to just speak as plainly as I feel like I know how. Thinking you are having a relationship with an AI product is fundamentally flawed in at least two ways. The first is that these products are built by companies who are trying to make a profit. And in that world, the line between personalization and exploitation, if it even exists, is razor thin. These products do not know what is right, what is moral, or what is correct. But they are working exactly as designed, and that is to keep you coming back and wanting more. And the second is that these products create a distortion of what a real relationship is like, and can make it more difficult to have healthy relationships with real people. These products are designed to please you, not to challenge you. They're rewarded for sounding plausible and making you feel satisfied, and that's it. So they're not going to challenge you. They're going to say what you think you want to hear. It becomes an echo chamber in that context. And if you take that lens and you apply it to other relationships, well, any sort of friction, I mean, that just feels harmful, right? Disagreement must mean incompatibility. And real people and all their issues, that just becomes insufferable. Previous generations, we had distortions at times to things like this. You might have found it in a magazine tucked under a mattress, right? This generation can date one. I work a lot with young men between the ages of 12 and 18, and I think most parents vastly underestimate what is being put in front of their children right now, today. We think because they can access it, they can handle it, but I see it in their eyes. They're scared. They don't know what to do either. See, the real danger is not some existential AI is going to take over threat. The real danger is that we let the AI we have today raise our children. So I'm going to close with 2 questions to ponder and 1 challenge as we navigate this world of AI. The first question, when you use AI to create things, can you see yourself in the output? Is it your style, your voice, the way you would have solved the problem? Can you explain the steps that were taken to get there? And if you can't, then back up and slow down. Do not outsource your identity for the sake of efficiency. The second is, are you using AI to thrive or to cope with life? Because one has the opportunity to amplify your impact and influence, and the other will slowly replace who you are. And the challenge is really simple. The next time you're tempted to hand something over to a tool, wait. Just 10 seconds. Sit in not knowing and let your brain wake up. That's it. That is the whole ask. 10 seconds of struggle and see what happens. You might be surprised. We can choose to avoid a lot of the struggles now that can build us, but we will not avoid struggle itself. It will just show up in different ways. So we will struggle with anxiety and depression. We will struggle with not knowing who we are, what we're capable of. Those are the diseases that we fight today. Louis Pasteur spent his life trying to find ways to fight diseases no one could see. And we're doing the same thing. And neither one of us should skip the struggle. Every time you choose to have that difficult conversation, every time you choose to not hand off that problem and try to solve it yourself, every time you choose to ask your teenager what exactly they are doing on their phone, every time you choose to stay and give that hug to a friend, those struggles, those hard things, that's not just your backstory. That is your character. And that struggle is the cure. Thank you.